Tonight, the chaos at airports as the government shutdown drags on, and the major announcement today about food assistance for the millions who depend on it. The painfully long line stretching through Houston's airport again today. Passengers waiting for hours just to clear security. And the big change today, the government said it will fund the food assistance program for those in need, but only partially what it means for those who rely on it. Election day just hours away, and the last efforts to stop the young Democratic socialist from becoming mayor of New York. Plus, what our new NBC News poll reveals about the national implications of this race. The chilling new images, the Michigan men accused of planning an ISIS-inspired Halloween terrorist attack, seen holding weapons inside of a gun store, the deadly terror attack authorities say they wanted to replicate. The NBC News exclusive, could U.S. troops soon be on the ground in Mexico? President Trump's new plan to target drug cartels. The urgent manhunt for two men seen racing from a Harvard building after a late-night explosion. Miracle survivor, a hunter missing for several days, found alive. The emotional moment he described being found. The new warning linked to melatonin, why using a popular sleep supplement could be a sign of heart health risks. A medieval stone tower crumbling to the ground, the race to rescue a worker trapped in the rubble. And the epic celebrations in Los Angeles, the city that went through so much this year, partying in the streets today after that electrifying World Series finish. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. With every minute that passes, the country moves closer to the longest government shutdown in history. And now Americans from coast to coast are feeling the impact. Massive lines are growing at TSA checkpoints. Look at this here. This is Houston, where people were stuck waiting for hours in snaking lines for a second day in a row before they could clear security. And at airports across the country where TSA officers and air traffic controllers are working without paychecks, a growing number of them are calling out of work. Delays are stacking up and the stakes are only getting higher as the busy holiday travel season gets closer. But for the millions of families that depend on food assistance, the shutdown stakes are very real. The Trump administration says it will partially fund some SNAP benefits, but there could be delays before people get the assistance they rely on. It is day 34 of the shutdown. Ryan Nobles has been tracking it all from the beginning and starts us off tonight.
At Houston's Bush International Airport, a second day of massive lines and long waits.
I was quite upset.
34 days into the government shutdown, delays are mounting for travelers from coast to coast, with TSA officers and air traffic controllers calling out sick.
Yeah, it's crazy, and there's people outside, which is even crazier, so I'm lucky to be up here.
The Department of Transportation says 84% of delays yesterday were due to staffing, compared to just 5% pre-shutdown. Meanwhile, for the millions of Americans on edge about food assistance,
I'm just sad, crushed, and disappointed with the system.
Today, a small reprieve. The Trump administration saying it will comply with a court order and provide half of the funding it typically does for SNAP benefits.
It's a huge relief.
Welcome news for Deborah Haynes, the executive director of Food for Others in Fairfax, Virginia. But she warns this relief is only temporary.
This is definitely still scary. As long as the government is shut down, we never know from one ruling to the next what's going to happen.
Across the country, that need on full display. Manny's Deli in Chicago is offering free food for those in need. Today, a line stretched out the door. In Virginia, SNAP recipient Diego Pineda says he's been carefully managing his food in case his benefits run out.
I just want this to be over. I want them to just agree on something or stop going back and forth because, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's burden to prove their point.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats continue to insist Republicans agree to health care reforms to prevent huge hikes in premiums. Republicans, led by President Trump, are insistent that Democrats must vote to reopen the government first.
Republicans passed a clean continuing resolution. It was nonpartisan. It was a simple bill that would open the full government, and we could do that today.
But Democrats are holding firm, insisting they can't trust Republicans to keep their word.
Unfortunately, they've demonstrated they're not serious about those commitments, so I don't trust that they would actually follow through and do that.
Ryan joins us tonight from outside of a food bank. Ryan, the big question tonight, is there any end in sight to the shutdown?
You know, Tom, in many ways, we are in the same position we were before this shutdown began. There have been no substantive negotiation. No talks are planned, and it is very likely that we will break the record for the longest shutdown in American history on Wednesday, barring a miracle. Tom.
34 days in. All right. Ryan Nobles for us. Tonight, we are 24 hours out from critical elections in several key states, including what polls suggest could be a big night for New York City mayoral frontrunner, Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani. And just moments ago, President Trump weighing in on the efforts to stop him. Here's Sam Brock.
Tonight in New York City, a critical election day just hours away. The frontrunner for mayor, upstart Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani on the Brooklyn Bridge, looking to rally working-class New Yorkers.
Let them feel the light of City Hall when their late-night bus home is faster and freer and safer, too.
But the rise of the 34-year-old Democratic Socialist who promises free buses and government-run grocery stores has also sparked backlash. His top challenger, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, whom Mamdani beat in a primary and is now running as an independent.
Socialism has not worked anywhere on the globe, not in Venezuela, not in Cuba, and it's not going to work in New York City.
Mamdani's rise comes as a new NBC News poll shows 35% of Democrats nationwide now have a positive view of socialism compared to only 20% with a negative view.
What is at stake for the Democratic Party in this election?
I think the Democratic Party is going through a civil war. I don't believe Americans will accept the Democratic Party as a socialist party that supports a socialist economy.
Another key race tomorrow, the tight contest for governor in New Jersey.
She wants you to think she's a moderate. She's no moderate. She supported Joe Biden's open border policies.
Pitting Republican Jack Ciattarelli, who just welcomed his son back from active duty abroad, against former Navy pilot and Democratic Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, trying to make the race a referendum on President Trump.
Does he say, hey, I'm serving you no matter what the cost? No. On every single occasion, Jack has decided, I'm going to defend Trump.
With spending projected at more than $200 million, it's expected to be the most expensive race in New Jersey history. And in another left-leaning state, a matchup that will result in the first female governor in Virginia's history, with Democrat Abigail Spanberger taking on Republican Winsome Earl Sears.
Sam Brock joins us from the campaign trail there in Queens. Mamdani just there behind you. We can see him in the crowd. And now President Trump is weighing in again on the New York mayor's race. What's he saying, Sam?
Tom, that's right. This was just referenced here, the fact that the president is encouraging people to vote for Cuomo to block Mamdani. As you see Mr. Mamdani at this moment addressing this large crowd around me, we found out there were 735,000 early votes, Tom. That is 4 times what it was in the previous mayoral election, with a surge of young voters coming in over the weekend. That would be key to any Mamdani victory. Tom, back to you.
Sam Brock for us. And for full coverage of election night, tune into our streaming channel, NBC News Now, tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, now to that foiled Halloween terror attack in Michigan. Federal prosecutors charging 2 men, revealing images of them in gun stores and firing ranges, preparing for what the FBI says was an ISIS-inspired plot. Here's Shaquille Brewster.
These new images show 2 Michigan men inside a gun store, purchasing weapons for what the FBI says was a foiled plot to carry out an ISIS-inspired Halloween terrorist attack. Just 3 days ago, the FBI raided homes in Dearborn. Tonight, Muhammad Ali and Majid Mahmoud were in federal court. Agents say during the raid, they recovered 3 AR-15-style rifles, 2 shotguns, 4 handguns, and more than 1,600 rounds of ammunition, along with this tactical gear and 24 magazines from a storage unit. According to the criminal complaint, in July, the FBI picked up on third-party conversations about Ali and an unnamed minor named Person 1, plotting to do the same thing as France, a reference, they say, to the 2015 ISIS terror attacks in Paris that killed 130 people. Between August and October, the FBI monitored the suspects, saying they purchased multiple weapons, frequently visited gun ranges seen here, and debated launching an attack on Halloween, what they called Pumpkin Day. The FBI quoting Ali in one conversation, telling Person 1, just learn how to shoot, it's not as easy as you think. And alleged the group went to Ferndale, Michigan to scout locations of a possible attack, where many of the clubs and bars attract members of the LGBTQ+ community. The FBI then moving in to make the arrests. Attorneys for the defendants declined to comment, but over the weekend, Ali's attorney denied the allegations, saying this group had a lawful interest in recreational firearms. Tom?
Shaq Brewster for us tonight. Shaq, thank you. Now to our exclusive new reporting about President Trump's war on drug cartels. The Trump administration now making plans to possibly expand the war into Mexico. Here's Courtney Kuby.
Tonight, President Trump's war on drugs potentially expanding after U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats near Venezuela. The Trump administration has now begun detailed planning to send U.S. troops and intelligence officers to Mexico to target drug cartels with drone strikes. For current and former U.S. officials familiar with the effort tell NBC News. A deployment is not imminent, they say, and it comes after the U.S. says it killed 64 people on boats smuggling drugs to the United States. Overnight, President Trump was asked about potential U.S. land strikes against cartels in Venezuela.
How can I answer a question like that? Supposing there were, would I say that to you?
The boat strikes have sparked criticism from lawmakers questioning their legality. The Trump administration considers Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, as illegitimate and a narco-terrorist. The president was pressed overnight if the U.S. would go to war with Venezuela.
I doubt it. I don't think so, but they've been treating us very badly, not only on drugs. They've dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country that we didn't want, people from prisons.
At the same time, President Trump ordering Pentagon officials to prepare for action in Nigeria.
They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Defense officials tell NBC News the early planning for any military operation focuses on precision drone strikes targeting the leadership of U.S. designated terror group Boko Haram, though the U.S. military may take no action at all. Tom?
Courtney Kuby with that exclusive reporting tonight. Courtney, thank you. Now to Boston, where the search is on for two suspects who police say fled a research building at Harvard Medical School after an explosion. Students there stunned. Aaron McLaughlin is on the scene.
Tonight in Boston, a manhunt for two suspects. Seen in these images released by Harvard police, both dressed in hoodies, their faces covered by balaclavas, and one wearing Crocs. Seen bolting from the Goldenson Biomedical Research Building at Harvard Medical School, following what police are calling a late-night explosion on the 4th floor. The explosion so loud, students say it jolted them awake.
And I just woke up, huge bang, like I felt it in my body, my heart was racing, and then tried to fall asleep, and then like 5 minutes later I heard another bang. A second one.
According to Harvard police, the explosion happened at around 3 a.m. the morning after Halloween. A responding officer saw two unidentified individuals fleeing the building. After attempting to stop them, the officer then discovered the scene of the explosion, which appeared to be intentional, according to an initial assessment. In a statement, Harvard Medical School officials say no one was injured, adding the impacted hallway has been cleared and is fully operational, while noting all labs and equipment remain intact. Still, students at one of the most prestigious medical schools in the world, stunned.
When I heard it was Harvard Med, I was like even more shocked. I was like, what could be going on there?
Tonight, we still don't know exactly what happened here. Was the explosion a Halloween prank, or was it something more sinister? Officials have not said whether the explosion was caused by a bomb. The FBI is assisting with the investigation. Tom?
All right, Aaron, thank you. A health alert now about melatonin, which helps millions of Americans fall asleep. But tonight, a new study says if you use it long term, it could be a warning sign for your health. NBC's Ann Thompson is here. And Ann, explain what the warning is here.
Tom, this study says prolonged use of melatonin is linked with a higher risk of heart failure and early death in adults with insomnia. It's not that melatonin causes these problems. Rather, its use is an indicator of problems because insomnia can increase your blood pressure and inflammation, leading to serious cardiac troubles. This study looked at the electronic medical records of more than 130,000 adults with chronic insomnia. It found those who took melatonin regularly for at least a year were nearly twice as likely to develop heart failure and more than 3 times as likely to be hospitalized for the issue. Melatonin is a popular sleep supplement. If you have concerns, the best advice is to talk to your healthcare provider, Tom.
Always check with your doctor. All right, and we thank you. We're back in 60 seconds with the incredible rescue of a hunter lost in the wilderness for nearly 3 weeks. How he survived. That's next. We're back now with an incredible story of survival. A hunter missing for nearly 3 weeks was just found alive on a rocky trail in California. He says he hadn't eaten in 6 days when he was finally rescued. Here's Steve Patterson.
That's Hunter, husband and father Ron Daly, packing up the truck for a day in the woods. A solo hunt meant to last just hours, quickly warped into a 3-week struggle for survival.
It was the toughest walk I've ever done in my life.
The hunter lost his way, 10,000 feet up on this rocky road, which tore through his truck. For weeks, volunteers and law enforcement searched for him by ground and air. Deputies say Daly used his truck for shelter, but food was running out and he had to move.
You either try to walk out or you're going to sit here and die.
Daly sharing his ordeal in a voice memo recorded by his daughter from the hospital.
I'm praying to the Lord, you got to send somebody up here to me. I can't hardly walk anymore, Lord.
Somehow, some way, those prayers were answered with a sudden halo of halogen.
I raised my head up. There's a car with headlights on it. And I go, oh God, thank you, Lord.
Authorities credit a group of volunteers, fellow hunters, for picking up the trail. Daly, now recovering with just minor injuries, is thanking a few good men.
And I just prayed to go, God, thank you, Lord, for bringing these men into my life and saving my life today, Lord.
Mixed with a little divine intervention. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
And we are back in a moment with the dramatic video of a medieval tower partially collapsing in Rome, trapping workers inside. That's next. We're back now with this dramatic video from Rome, a medieval tower partially collapsing while workers were still inside. Firefighters trying to reach a trapped worker. They had to pull back after another part of the tower gave way, releasing this giant cloud of dust and debris. Incredibly, after hours of work, crews just freed one of those workers that was trapped in that rubble. When we come back, the joy in the streets of Los Angeles today, the city that went through so much after those devastating wildfires, now celebrating a World Series win. That's next. We're back now with the big win that everyone can't stop talking about. The Dodgers winning the World Series in thrilling fashion again. Today, the streets to the stadium were filled with a sea of Dodger blue, and this year, that victory meant so much more. Here's Morgan Chesky.
Tonight, winner take all. The City of Angels welcoming their hometown heroes after a World Series win for the ages.
She has only seen the Dodgers win World Series.
That's right. The Los Angeles Dodgers besting the Toronto Blue Jays in an unprecedented series that broke records and made history. Today, Angelinos basking in the glory of back-to-back World Series titles. Major League Baseball's first in 25 years.
I go, no way, again! I go, we're champions again! No way!
Fans taking to the streets, hailing their beloved Dodgers, who soaked up the moment on their way to a sold-out crowd at Dodger Stadium. Guillermo Ortiz bringing his whole family to witness history side by side.
The crazy part is being a dad and you have 2 kids and they can witness this. I look back and I'm like, say, you were there, son. We were sitting right there.
The victory coming during a time some say the city needed it too, after wildfires left communities devastated earlier this year. Any message to the guys out there?
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your families. Thank you for playing hard. Just so awesome. Love LA, Dodgers.
As for the players, baseball phenom Shohei Ohtani told fans they're just getting started.
I'm ready to get another ring next year. Let's go.
3-peat ain't never sounded so sweet.
A dynasty born by the boys in blue. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Back-to-back. Congratulations to the Dodgers. That's Nightly News for this Monday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.